All right. All right, all right, all right. You're going to learn today. What's up, peoples? It's your boy MM2K, and today we want to talk about some things. And them things that we want to talk about today are Xbox XO event 2018 predictions. We also want to talk about what's going on with that BlizzCon situation. And also, PlayStation now the biggest stream provider? What? But before we get too deep into that, I have to introduce you to the illustrious co-host. God damn. I'm not introducing you to the West Coast. You know, Sugar ain't coming on this show. Yeah. I got to introduce you to the illustrious co-host of this wonderful show we call Scram Punks, where the old people shake their fists at the window of these new gamers. First off, we're going to start off with the homie. Dirt McGirt, that's his name. Dirt Griggity. What's going on, Dirt? How you feeling, man?
Hey, what's up, y'all? If y'all tired of being all in the videos, hey, come over here to Scram Punks, you know what I'm saying?
Woo. Definitely. And it's the one, the only TRS Fusionwolf. What's going on, man?
What's going on, everybody? Back and alive, back in effect. Good to see y'all. Good to not see y'all. It's all great.
It's all great. Whatever the hell.
Whatever. Well, yeah. Just be here.
Just hit the like button. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
Just hit the damn like button. Now, so while we get into that, I just want to I'm gonna cheat. You know how I do it. I'm gonna tweet this out and hit the Discord and all that fun, lovely shit. And while I'm doing that, we're going to have the co-hosts here tell you about their gaming weeks, and we're going to start with Griggity. Griggity, what's been going on with you, brother, on these gaming streets?
Well, of course, Red Dead Redemption has been getting a lot of my attention, but that's not it. I've been playing a little NBA 2K, of course, and also I've been playing a little WWE 2K19. That's been pretty fun.
Okay.
You know, enjoying that. But yeah, that's pretty much about it, those three games.
Oh, okay.
Well, and Forza Horizon 4. I've been playing that a little bit too. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. You know what? That is on my backlog. Of course, everything's on my backlog. So I will be getting into that courtesy of Game Pass. And speaking of Game Pass, we got some information that we want to talk about. So, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But next, TRS.
What's going on? Well, I've been playing a lot of Red Dead Elder Scrolls. And basically, for those of you out there that don't like Bethesda games, I do kind of understand, and I do feel your pain. I just have one question for you: is it just me, or is the replay value of Skyrim phenomenal?
Okay,
it might just be you.
you think it's just me? I'm playing it now with the mods, man, and I'm like, oh, I am God.
Okay, so
it's wonderful.
Some of the mods, if you could think, even some of the ones that you've played or some of the ones that you're interested in using, if you could talk a little bit about those and what makes those so fantastic, Si.
Well, basically, as an old school gamer, I always have to mention that bullshit. But as an old school gamer, I go back to the cheats. I go back to the Game Shark and the Game Genie and all that kind of stuff, just for subtle changes. Like, for example, for anything with RPG elements, I just want the money. Yeah. You know what I mean? Just give me don't make me super strong. Don't make me, Zeus or anything like that. I don't, it's boring once I'm that powerful. But I'm just like, just give me the money. So with Skyrim, you can do stuff like that. If you wanted to be a god, you can enhance all kinds of things like that. There's a lot of different mods, but the one that intrigues me the most, I don't use it, but I've seen a friend of mine use it, is there was the one mod with was it Macho Man Randy Savage? you could be him. That was pretty it was pretty tight. I like that one. But there's a lot of different stuff on there. It's ridiculous. I don't even use the majority of it. It's like a whole library of them. But I think if anybody ever liked the old Skyrim, it already had some pretty decent replay value. But with these mods, it's savage. I'm loving it.
Oh, that's what's up. That is what's up. Hey, it's what's up to homie Devil Shooter 126. He says in the chat, Skyrim PC plus mods equal infinite playtime. Hell yeah.
Thank you.
Definitely. So we got.
We're just waiting for the mods for Elder Scrolls Online.
Absolutely.
We're just waiting for that. So.
Absolutely. Oh, okay. All right. And you know what, people? We're going to have us a special guest. It's a surprise. It's a surprise. Mr. Postman. All right. Let me drop this right here. Hold on 1 second. So, homie. All right. With that being said, let's talk about my friends, my gaming week. Okay. So as you well have known, I haven't been the most faithful content creator out there. Okay. I tell you, MM2K may not be the snazziest talker or the most consistent talker. You know, I might go on these tangents or whatever. Or I might do some silly shit like and big ups to the homie D. We was all just having fun, you know. But with that being said, I am trying to give you guys maximum value with the MM2K experience. So I have now started the MM2K gaming channel. So you can check out the MM2K gaming channels using that same name, that same handle, MM2K gaming, all one word, on YouTube, Twitch, and Mixer. You know what I'm saying? So come on out and check me while I'm playing these games, the Red Deads and the Skyrims and all the other crazy shit.
Streets of Rage. Streets of Rage, hey?
Yeah, Streets of Rage.
I have to make it. This is a disclaimer. I deeply apologize to my PlayStation brethren. I will not be playing Dream Daddy or Big Burly Man. I deeply apologize.
Boo.
That will be for someone else's channel, not mine. But with that said, I would like to introduce our illustrious guest. It is the one, the only, yes, the man that is crazy enough to come back here. He didn't learn his lesson last time, Mr. Randolph Thor.
Uh-oh.
What's going on, Mr. Randolph Thor?
What's going on? I got a DM from you saying, I need you in here. And I'm like, all right. I can join you for a little bit.
Immediately. Hey, what's going on, man? Hey, you know what? You graced us with your presence a couple months ago, right? And right before XO 18, right? Everybody's doing their predictions and so forth. And then there's been some interesting news coming out. And we saw that you dropped a video. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that news, but before we do that, being that you're really with us at the beginning of this whole thing, did you want to give the listening public a dose of what your gaming week has consisted of, if that's okay, sir?
My gaming week has consisted of Red Dead Redemption 2, Red Dead Redemption 2, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Red Dead Redemption 2.
With a sprinkle.
Yeah. Last night I went back and I loaded up a whole bunch of games. Captured some footage for a video I'm dropping tomorrow about the Xbox One X.
Okay.
And if it was worth it a year later.
Gotcha.
So a whole bunch of nice 4K footage that looks really good.
Nice. Griggity, are you take notes? Because we're going to steal his idea before he gets off and finish.
I got a pen in my hand right now.
No, that's going to be awesome. And of course, if you're listening to me, if you're listening to my dog shit channel, then you definitely have. I know you're listening to Randolph Thor. If you're not, you need your head examined and go check out Randolph Thor's channel. Subscribe to it. Of the best videos out there, period, bar none. Rand, I wanted to ask you. I didn't have a chance to chat with you since our last video. We didn't get you in trouble at all with the Microsoft brass, did we? With the last podcast, I thought you were pretty fair and nice of the Xbox brand. We didn't get you in any trouble with them, did we?
No. I only get in trouble when I make a video myself. Like when I call Crackdown 3 a joke, I get in big trouble. But no, it's all good. It's all good. Just like you, I'm waiting to see what things Microsoft has to show us on Saturday.
Oh,
yeah,
man. I heard your expectations kind of dwindled a little bit.
Yeah, I had a conversation with somebody, and let's just say I was basically told not to get my expectations high. Don't think of it as E3 Part 2. But hey, for all you Crackdown fans out there, it's gonna be there. Yeah. Multiplayer is gonna be shown off. The new release date. will be given. So expect a big blowout on that.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I think it's going to be a jumbo size inside Xbox, which is, well, I don't know, like disappointing. But I think as long as Microsoft can do a couple things, they'll be fine. If they can keep the pace nice and like tight, it'll be good. And if they end on a brand new game announcement, I think people will overlook the fact that it's inside Xbox. Like if they really do announce Ninja Theory's next game, which people say is going to happen, then I think people will be happy with what they show, even if most of it's going to be like, you know, stuff about games coming out next year, the third party stuff, and, you know, Sunset Overdrive going to PC and things like that, right?
Yeah. that has created some buzz, you know what I mean? And I mean, fair enough, whatever. But like you, I want to quote what you said. It was kind of ballsy for them to do this. So there's got to be something, right? There's got to be something.
I mean, Phil's gonna be there. Matt Booty's gonna be there. I don't know. Like they gotta announce something cool. You know, I'm not expecting Fable.
Yeah.
But like, I'm expecting at least some. I'm expecting one new game announcement, and that's pretty much it.
Absolutely, that would be totally awesome. And even, I mean, while we're talking about that, just a little bit right now up front, one of the biggest XOs of past that everyone talks about when they try to compare what to expect here opposed to what's happened before is the XO. I think that where BioShock and Mass Effect were shown in the same one, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be an Xbox exclusive announcement, but if they can show some new
third party,
third party, like that would be awesome. You know what I mean? So, have you done your predictions video yet, Ram?
Yeah, I did it about like 3 weeks ago, I think.
Gotcha. All right. So I urge everybody, to check that video out too. But
I actually probably don't check that video out because I was a little bit excited for it, you know, and my expectation level has. I don't know if the person's using reverse psychology on me.
Yeah.
Like where I expect nothing and then they actually show something really good, so I'm really excited. I don't really know.
Yep.
But like, I don't know. Just I guess expect the worst. I don't know.
Yeah. Set your expectations. Yeah, I'm hearing that across the board from maybe some. I mean, you have way more sources than I do, but a couple of the same sources that you may have heard from too. To tamper down expectations. You know what I mean? Like. This is not E3 part 2, you know. So, but again, it's a ballsy move, and we'll see what they have. They gotta have something. We know they'll have something.
You know what? The one thing that I'm curious about is like if it's going to be an inside Xbox, they just could have did another inside Xbox, right?
Yeah, it
has to be something extra, something special they're going to announce. I don't know. You know, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, we'll see. So, Rand, my friend,
yes, sir.
We want to know what your thoughts are. There's been a lot of figures that have been bounced around. You and I have talked about one set in particular, right? And now we're seeing this figures about PlayStation Now, right? Quote unquote, having 52% of the market share when it comes to the top 5 game streaming services. And I didn't get a chance to check Twitter, but from what I understand, you attempted to shed some light on that. Like, this isn't to tell all, see all, folks. Like, there might be a little bit more to that. So I wanted to get your thoughts on that first off. Like, if you could explain what these numbers are, and then again, what your thoughts on why we need to curb our enthusiasm on that as well of what these numbers might represent.
Yeah, well, okay. So first, you probably need to explain exactly who's reporting what, right?
Yeah.
So Super Data is the people behind this, and they are saying that the top 5 streaming subscription services on consoles are PS Now, EA Access, Xbox Game Pass, EA Origins, and Origin Premiere, so like the top 5 streaming subscription things.
Yep.
And PlayStation Now had 52% of the 273 million that they estimated were spent last quarter. So the thing is, you got to keep in mind estimates, right?
Mm-hmm.
Super data is not MPD.
Yeah. Okay,
MPD gets the information about game sales and console sales directly from the retailers and the publishers themselves. It is 100% fact.
Yep.
They cover 90% of the market, and using statistics and algorithms, they extrapolate for the other 10%, right? Super Data is a market research firm with a panel of 160 million people. And they ask those 160 million people certain questions. Those people tell them what they buy every month, how much they spend on certain things, et cetera, et cetera. And with the information provided by those 160 million people, Super Data then estimates, exactly what they did. So many gamers said that they're subscribed and what they're subscribed to. So then using that information, Super Data estimated that PlayStation Now brought in that much money. So that's the thing. It's not fact.
Exactly.
It's just an estimate. Now, I don't think it's shocking to think that PlayStation Now is the market leader, like you said, right?
Yeah.
It's on a console with double the install base of its nearest competitor. And it has no competition on the console. Think about it. Xbox One has direct competition in that space with EA Access.
Yep.
Right? And EA Access is at 16%, which is actually more than Game Pass.
Yeah.
What if Sony opened up EA Access to the PlayStation Nation?
Exactly.
What would happen? Would suddenly EA Access market share go from 16% to 40%, while also then cutting back the percentage that PlayStation Now has? Because clearly that would happen. So I'm not surprised why anybody that they're winning or they are the leader. I'm kind of surprised by people's reactions. I saw a lot of PlayStation fans being like, "What? How is this popular? PlayStation Now is trash."
Yeah.
Right? Which is why I literally called the video that, right? Like PlayStation Now is trash ?
Yeah.
Because there's this sentiment out there among hardcore gamers like us that nobody uses PlayStation Now, that its streaming is trash. And because what we think how we play is exactly how everybody else plays, but that's wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, me and you may think, and I'm never going to stream, but Johnny down the street may not give a crap, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, like people put their own biases towards like information and data, and they think, well, just because it doesn't work for me, that must mean it doesn't work for somebody else, or the lineup I don't think is very good must mean that the lineup's not very good to somebody else. PlayStation Now is also more expensive, and this was a thing for revenue, so that obviously has a factor in it. I know there's a lot of things at play, but first things first is like it's an estimation. It's not like fact like MPD is.
Let me add to that. I used to be okay. So to Randall's point, and it is very enlightening to hear that perspective from it. And this is not fanboy fodder or hate. This is just factual. Nielsen is the parent company of Superdata. They bought them out a few years ago, right? And that's because what Superdata did before they bought them out was very similar to what they did in the home. Nielsen puts a box or does surveys, however they do it, with a set amount of subscribed people or members, quote unquote. And I used to be a Nielsen member, and I know for a fact. And what I can tell you is that we're not always the most responsible people. Like, they'll give you a set box, you're supposed to have the wires up, and sometimes shit gets disconnected, or they tell you when this light comes on, we're not pulling the actual data, and you're like, fuck it, I'm watching Mama's Family right now, I don't feel like getting up from the couch. There's a whole bunch of great factors in to where, like Randolph Force just said, this is not NPD, where they're just doing analytics. This is based off the participation of the people in the house, and everybody's not always engaged, right? To hit the box, you got wires and shit hanging everywhere. So it's not factual data. So let's take this with a grain of salt. But to his point as well, it's not hard to fathom, even though I gotta eat crow. When I first saw that, I would have never thought that Sony, and it just didn't hit, it didn't settle in my mind that Sony would be near the top service. Because again, like you said, I was one of those skeptical people that thought PSN now is trash, it's garbage, there's really nothing out there that the hardcore gamer that would want to stream would want to do. We've seen people on Twitter, pro PlayStation people that said the service is trash, people like Porter Rock or so forth. And I would have never thought, but to Randall's point, that's us. We make up a smidgen of the gaming community. So it is double the price. And what did they have, Randall, this quarter? They seen something when they allowed it to be streamable to PC, right? Mm-hmm. And they did some other things. They allowed you to download it on the PlayStation 4. There's something that they saw because Sony went on a heavy campaign on lowering the price and making it easier for people, for the entry point for people to come in. You know what I mean? So what are your thoughts on that? Did you think that may have had a big impact, that this might be an outlier quarter or what?
I don't know. This quarter was from July to September, and I don't think downloads were there yet. You'd have to look at the next quarter.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see if downloads actually affect that in any way. Like, does revenue go up? Does revenue stay flat? It'd be interesting. Like, I don't know. Like, the thing is, I would love to see actual facts and seeing the growth of Xbox Game Pass and EA Access and where PlayStation Now really is, because Sony doesn't talk about PlayStation Now ever. They never talk about it. And Sony's always willing to tell you how amazing they are doing with everything. You want to know how many PlayStation Pros they're selling? They'll tell you. PlayStation Slims, they'll tell you.
Exactly.
Copies of their games. Like, they're always willing to tell you exactly how they're doing when it's doing well.
Yeah. And why we've never heard this from them, I don't know. I mean, yeah, you're absolutely. I'm wholeheartedly believe that, and not because it's PlayStation. I want them to fail. No, of course not. It's just something just didn't make sense with that. You know what I mean? Like, that is the very first thought I had. Like, hold on, if they're doing this well, and you see Microsoft pumping Game Pass all the time, more than anybody, right?
Right. Yeah, they advertise it like crazy.
Why wouldn't Sony they want to curb stomp Microsoft on everything? Why don't you see them in front of this? Like, this wouldn't be a bad thing for their core or their demographic, because their core demographic would damage control anything. It would be great. It would be fantastic. See, we're beating Game Pass. You know what I mean? So I just don't understand. But TRS, Griggity, any of you guys have any thoughts on this as well?
I don't really have any thoughts about it. I mean, you guys pretty much said everything there is to say. It's not factual data, but it's absolutely possible, for obvious reasons, that it could be the number one subscription service in gaming. So I think you guys covered it pretty much.
See, now see, you see what happens, Rand. Now that you're in here, everybody now all of a sudden wants to join the podcast. nethilez wants to do it. Because he's a Randolph Thor fanboy, okay? So I hope you don't mind, Rand. I'll let you come in me now.
I'm very surprised that they're actually being quiet, considering who they are as far as advertisement.
Like
and braggadocious. I mean, it's a surprise to me, but I feel like something's coming.
I'm gonna, let me say this, and I want to get Randall's thoughts on this too. First, if he doesn't mind. Sony loves to curb stomp any enthusiasm for Microsoft.
Right.
Like, I see 2017 November NPD that sticks in my mind first and foremost, with the Xbox One X coming out. They went and called all the retail chains early, from my understanding, and said, the hell with wait until Black Friday. Drop that freaking price right now. And it edged them out in November NPDs, right? Is that your understanding too, Randall?
I've heard those same things, but I don't know if it's true or not.
I'm with you. I'm wholeheartedly with you. Like, if this definitely was something where it was this successful and the numbers were actually at these actual levels, you would be hearing from Sony about this big time, and Microsoft's enthusiasm would be curbed a little bit.
Yo, think about it. Every time there's somewhat positive Xbox news, what does Sony do? They drop some type of number, some sales. Yeah, we did this because they don't, like you said, they like to curb stuff Microsoft's ass.
Absolutely.
So they drop something. So yeah, that's something to think about.
Hit that like button, everybody. We got Randolph Thor, and we have his boy crush nethilez joining as well. nethilez is doing. Doing. But yeah, I saw that. I was shocked. You know, let's start a GoFundMe for Porter Rock, man. There's pony on pony crime going on out there. Did you see that, Randolph?
Yeah, I muted that thread. My notifications were blowing up, and I was like, yeah, I don't really care anymore. Mute.
Yeah. But geez, Louise, man, it's like 8 against 1. I mean, Porter Rock is fighting for his life, man. But because Porter Rock is in the camp, and he makes a very good point. We can get the panel's thoughts on this. Porter Rock is in the camp of he doesn't like the streaming service or the streaming integration at all. He thinks it's being overblown, and he thinks it's overrated. And he doesn't think that it's Sony's claim to fame. So he said, if you look at the fact that, let's just say if this was true, and they did bring in 145 million in for a particular quarter, that's 145 million against the total of 5 billion that they brought in for that entire quarter. It's not even a spit in the bucket. He said it cost them about $500 million to buy the Gaikai service, and then we don't know what they're spending to maintain those servers. He said that money would have been well spent on getting off peer-to-peer servers and going to what's the term? It just lost me. Going to what type of dedicated servers? Yeah, you know what I mean. Interesting point. I can't really disagree with that whole, in entirety.
I mean, so the 140 million in a quarter, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So say a year, that's $500 million, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
True. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's a lot of money, and they've been doing this for quite some time. It's not like PlayStation Now just launched this year. It could have been making $500 million a year since they bought a Gaikai, which was what, 2013, 2012?
Yep.
So I mean, like, I don't know, like, I mean, that's $500 million. How are you gonna turn down $500 million? Right?
Absolutely.
You just, I mean, I don't know, like, yeah, I guess you could say, well, as part of that quarter, the 5 billion, it brings in gaming revenue. It's really a drop in the bucket. But how much of that gaming revenue is like console sales, which are notorious for not actually making you any money?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't looked at Sony's financials, so I'm not really sure. I would assume it covers everything. Like $5 billion in revenue would cover the console sales, the digital sales, all that stuff. So a lot of that would be console sales, which they don't make a lot of money on. Like, that service could be all pure profit for them. Who really knows? If Sony was losing a lot of money and didn't think PlayStation Now was worth it, they probably wouldn't be doing it. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we'll have to wait and see what their plans are for next gen with PlayStation Now. If they get rid of it, then it wasn't worth it for them. If they step up their game, then they clearly see a future in it. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't have the account sheet in front of me. Clearly, Porter Rock does. So, you know what I mean? Like, Porter Rock should just be working for PlayStation at this point.
Right. Yeah, you really should.
Delist Porter Rock, come back home, go see Yoshida immediately. But I just thought that was an interesting take. And I mean, these, numbers in general, because we kind of talked about this a little bit, Rand. Like, Microsoft, they have the reasons because Sony did it last gen to a certain extent. a little cryptic about these numbers, right? What they're doing, and they're switching to service-based litmuses as far as providing information about that. And then, and I mean, to their credit, Sony said in an investor call that they were going to start mimicking using those same litmuses. Say that fast 5 times. Nevertheless, because that information is hard to get on the Microsoft side, we're kind of pinned in a box where people like you and I that, you know, do podcasting or create content, we go try to grab at every single source that we may deem is credible. Now, if you don't do your due diligence, you could look like an ass. So you got, I do caution that everybody do their due diligence. With that being said, let's just say if these numbers, let's play devil's advocate before I let your boy Crush say hello to the listening public. If let's just say if these numbers were true, would it say that Sony is doing well, Microsoft is doing bad, or a little bit of both?
I honestly couldn't tell you without knowing what Microsoft's and Sony's projections or what they thought they were going to get out, right? Like, yeah. I mean, they're the business at the end of the day. Like, it doesn't matter if a game sells 1 million copies and I think that's low, but if the publisher was only expecting 200,000 and they're happy with it, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what their expectations were for Game Pass. And like I said at the very beginning, we don't even know if these numbers are right, but we're going off the assumption that they are right for this sake of the argument, right?
We're in Harry Potter land right now. We're just playing in the magic.
Well, let's see. So $14 million for Xbox Game Pass, right? Because that would what?
Yeah,
40. You know, it'd be 40 million because that's 15, and then so that'd be like, what was that? 10, like a little bit over 10 million a month. So you're looking at 1 million subscribers because it covers 3 months.
Yeah. Okay. No, I think that's solid. That's solid.
Yeah, I mean, for just starting out, because that's what Game Pass is just a subscription service. Right. I don't know. Like, were you expecting Xbox to have 5 million subscribers by this point in time? 10 million?
Yeah, I was just expecting them to be so I can talk shit, but no, it didn't work out that way. Well, no, again, and we're just making this up. Who knows? But nethilez has joined us.
What's up, guys? Believe it or not, I actually didn't even know Randall Thor was in here until like 5 minutes ago. The reason I joined today is because Twitter has been popping, and I made a troll tweet, and that went completely left, as you saw, MM2K. Now people are saying, what was that game? Quiet Man is no longer a PS4 exclusive, and I want to talk about that on the show later on.
Uh-oh.
Let's continue what the show is. Apparently, it needs to be a Sony published game from now on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it and that's it. That's all that's considered. I know there's some broadband.
There's some caping going on.
Yeah, some bully on bully fighting there. You know what I mean? So you know, it is whatever we can do to keep the drama going, right? What are your thoughts, nethilez? Randall gave a lot of insight. I don't know if you heard all of it, but that chart that came out from SuperData, I talked a little bit about my experience with Nielsen altogether, and he brought to the point. Did you catch all of it?
I just saw that picture with all day, and I just saw the thread just begin, and then Puerto Rock went in later on, and I had to mute it. But my question is SuperData reliable? Because I remember they used SuperData back when they said Sea of Thieves lost half its player base, and Crap said that shit was fake. So I don't know. Where are we standing on SuperData? Is it legit or is it fake?
They've been wrong before and stuff, which, you know, always makes you question.
Look, is it VG charts credibility? What are we talking about?
I think they have more credibility than VG charts, but how they get their information is literally, did you subscribe? Okay, you did. And let's estimate and throw out a number. They don't actually have any numbers from any publishers.
That's my thing.
They have 160 million people that they ask questions to and poll, and based on the information they get back, they use statistics to come up with a number. This, you know, so it's like, I don't know. Like I don't. From what I understand, I've said in a tweet, I think the Xbox Game Pass stuff is completely lowballed because let's just say I've heard some things. I don't believe the Game Pass number, and I think the PS Now number is also a tad bit wrong. But you know, it's hard to say really anything concrete when nobody wants to talk real numbers with any of these services, right?
Right.
Like, I don't know. I think PlayStation Now might be doing fairly well. Like, I remember they lifted the ban on the paywall on that. Like, if you get a game on PlayStation Now, online is free for you. Even though I know there's a lot of PS3 games and those were free anyways back on the PS3. So I guess that kind of makes sense. But they are expanding it more to the PC and allowing downloads. So I think Sony is taking a foothold with their PlayStation Now service, and they will use it to compete in the future because we know these streaming services and so on is really the future. EA is working on something. Microsoft's about to roll out their shit. Google's joining and all that. The PlayStation Now is going to be a pillar regardless.
What were you about to say, Griggity?
Oh, nothing. I'm just enjoying it. I'm just listening, man.
Oh, so now you have a man crush.
Randy here. We got nethilez here. Yeah, I'm just enjoying this, man. You know.
Let me say this about Super Data because nethilez missed it, and for people that are just coming in to listen to the show, they're part of Nielsen. Nielsen is the parent company. What Nielsen does is like Rand described. They have they do I don't want to say interviews, but they do surveys. Nielsen, even for TV ratings, they give you a box. And I remember not too long ago, because when I was part of the Nielsen group as well, and they said, "Oh, you have gaming systems in there." So they had this crazy ass contraption. It looked like the prototype for the PlayStation VR. It had like 80 wires hanging from it and shit, and there was just wires everywhere. And they said, when this red light pops up, that means it's not feeding this data to this database center, so you're gonna have to hit it 5 times and touch your nose. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck that. I just that red light will just be on. So with that being said, yeah, exactly. Get out.
Get out.
With that being said, send me my check. So with that being said, the accuracy of the data is only as reliable as the end user. In addition to that, it kind of reminds me of this service that way back in the day when me and Porter Rock were battling, right? When we had our infamous battle, somebody had sent Porter Rock statistics about Target because we were battling over November NPDs, and it showed that the PlayStation 4 Pro had grossed more money than the Xbox One X or something like that. And it was kind of like on the same basis, where what it was is it wasn't an accurate count of everything out of Target. What it was is people that belong to the subscription service where you get free coupons out of, I think, like the Midwest. For all the people that went to Target that used that subscription service, they based their numbers off of that. And again, it's only legitimate for the people that registered with the app, with the service. So you can't go off of this stuff all the time. Nielsen/Super Data fits into that prism. So just keep that in mind. And I'm glad Randolph Thor put that to fruition before we jump out of the window for these numbers. But before we move on, any other thoughts on that at all?
Nope.
All right. Well, I'm glad we got you on. Hey, Rand. Did you do a video on this whole BlizzCon situation? I'm pretty sure you've heard about it a little bit.
Yeah, I heard about it, but I didn't make a video. I just don't care about Diablo.
Thank you, Rand.
Like,
Thank you.
I understand. Like
Overwatch.
Yeah.
It's a weird thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't have it in me to like care about Diablo in the way that other people do. So I let other people talk about that, you know?
Yeah.
I have to agree with him.
You know what? No, we're getting the premier Randolph Thor thought on BlizzCon. We're going to make him care just for the next 2 or 3 minutes, right? So for those of you that don't know what the hell I'm talking about, right? Blizzard, the sub company of Activision, greedy ass bastards. They have a conference or a con every year. It's called BlizzCon. It's one of the biggest freaking things out there in the gaming world. I think it's so big now. I heard Porter Rock on a podcast with Z that this thing is so freaking big that in order for you to see it live, that you got to pay $50 Like it's like watching a Mayweather fight. Like you got to pay $50 in order to see this thing live. You can see it live. It's a partnership between BlizzCon and Twitch. So you can see it.
Bullshit.
Ain't that crazy? So you have I know people personally that love BlizzCon, people close to me that go to this freaking thing. They don't bathe, you know, they're so focused that they forget to eat, bathe, and everything. They go there, so they book their flight, they get their hotels, all that shit. And what it was is that these are PC fanatics. These are nativist PC people. They care only about PC, like living is only on PC. And they go there, and it's been teased that there's going to be a big Diablo announcement, and you're a nativist PC person, and the big Diablo announcement that you find out is for a mobile game. That is not playable on the PC. Yeah. So of course people went ballistic. They were not too kind to the.
Rightfully so. Like I don't care about Diablo or anything, but let's pretend that was the next Halo. Like Halo Infinite, Microsoft announces that, and they say that's a mobile exclusive. I would lose my shit. Okay.
Can you imagine? Oh my god.
That's like where it's at. Like these people who love Diablo, it's like us loving Halo, like us loving Gears, like you loving God of War. That's what's about to these people. So they've been hungry for a new game for like what 6 years now, and the newest Diablo game with adding in lore, missions, having a live world that's ever changing and updating so on is a mobile exclusive. Fuck out of here. That's the issue.
Yeah, they should have learned from what Microsoft and Bethesda did. Like. You announce your mobile game, Gears Pop, or Fallout Shelter, or Elder Scrolls Blades, alongside your announcement of the big title, Gears 5.
Exactly.
Fallout 4, Elder Scrolls 6.
You just had to put a picture out.
Yeah, they should have announced Diablo 4 or just said, we're working on Diablo 4, and all this would have blown under, right? Nobody really cared. Instead, they made it the end of the show, and I know, like, think about this. BlizzCon is for the hardcore, the super hardcore, right? They fly there, so people are spending thousands of dollars flying out to BlizzCon. It's like $200 a ticket, $600 for the banquet stuff, hotels and lodge. People are spending thousands of dollars, and they get an announcement about a mobile phone game.
Yeah,
it's. I understand why people were pissed off. I don't know. And then there's the whole like journalists taking the sides and calling gamers entitled and sticking up for their corporate overlords.
Yep.
Like, man, like I don't know. I don't like talking about that stuff. You know what I mean? Because that attracts a certain audience that I don't really particularly want to cultivate. But I don't know, man. Like I thought maybe Blizzard thought they could get away with it because they're Blizzard. I don't know.
Not this time. Not with Diablo. You don't fuck with Diablo when you have your fan base so hungry.
And that's the thing that boggles me more than the act of having that mobile game come out there. We know why it happened. And look, I'm surprised that this hasn't happened earlier. And we'll get the thoughts of our mobile gamer on the panel too. Yes, so get ready, TRS. I'm not surprised this has happened, earlier with Blizzard now being well, they've been acquired for a while by Activision. I'm surprised they didn't. I mean, you got to remember, for those that are not aware, that may not be old enough to remember, that care about this. Bobby Kotick, the CEO of Activision Blizzard, said years ago that he wanted to find a way to make people pay for cutscenes. Okay, cutscenes.
I remember.
What are we talking about? Cutscenes. Okay, so I'm not surprised. Activision, to me, this is just my personal opinion, not the opinion of the panel, but Activision is the sleaziest pieces of shit here on the Northeast Atlantic. All right, that's just my thoughts. So with that being said, I'm not surprised they made this grab. What surprises me the most is the backlash from, like Rand said, the overlords that said, gamers feel entitled. Let's bounce that around. Gamers feel entitled. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Let's start with TRS. What are your thoughts on this whole Diablo mobile game thing? You think it's a cool idea? You think it was okay for them to do that, to give people the shaft like that? And are we gamers entitled because we don't love your mobile games? Let us know.
As far as the kind of mobile gamer I am, doesn't really make this fair, because I'm kind of like I'm not play the mobile game like I'm playing a Game Boy. type thing. That's not how I do it. I'm pretty much the kind of guy that's like, I'm at work, give me the touch the character and the character hits real quick, type stuff that you can do while you're at work.
Gotcha.
And things like that. With that said, I did research as much as I could before the show on BlizzCon, and basically it went into a little bit of the Diablo, but it basically said Diablo 4 kind of exists. It kind of. You know what I mean? And that was kind of in a way, it was a disappointment. And on the other hand, I don't really care for Blizzard anymore. So it's kind of rough. I mean, what is it? Diablo and Overwatch? That's pretty much the two things that grab my attention.
All the PC native is shit. It's
as far as what grabs my attention, and all the other stuff are things that I never played that were out years ago on PC. So I don't, I don't see any greatness with Diablo on the phone. I don't think that's fair, but I think it should have been like a major thing on the console. But who am I? You know what I mean? I'm just a work phone gamer.
So like Rand, you don't care. You just don't care.
No. Get out.
Oh, man.
Hey, what are your thoughts on that? We are entitled on
either, but come on, man. Like, can you guys imagine, like what Neith was alluded to? At E3 2018, they announced Gears Pop, and that's it. Yeah. Can you imagine that, man? Like, what was
we thought that was about to be it. I was about to have a fit.
Oh, yeah, right.
And then they showed Gears 5 and it calmed down.
Right. But the thing is, okay, from a business standpoint, I get it. Mobile games are, they make a lot of money.
Lucrative.
Yeah, they're very lucrative. But on the other hand, as a gamer, a hardcore gamer, how dare you? People make bad mistakes. We, as Xbox fans, we know sometimes these executives make bad decisions. And this seems to be one. From a business standpoint, like I said, I get it. But I don't know, man. You're doing your hardcore wrong, man, with that kind of stuff,
I mean, I understand if the gaming on the phones, yes, that is very lucrative. I see that. I'm with that as far as
it's the biggest market out there for gaming.
But for something like BlizzCon, I thought it would be so much more than that. I thought it would be like this Justice League of new games coming out for consoles and stuff, and I just thought it would be more. Diablo for the phone. That's your highlight.
Here's my thing about it. I don't think it's so much that they made a game for the phone, because honestly, the phone is such a lucrative market that you can't even blame them for going for that. I think the issue is they made it a mobile exclusive, that this game's not even available on PC. It's not even available on console. You have to use your fucking phone. And clearly, there's rumors right now that this might be just basically like a Chinese game that's reskinned with Diablo assets. That's a rumor. I'm not telling you that's going to happen, but that's a rumor right now. So I think if they made this game for the PC, for the consoles, and they put some effort into it, and also made it for the phone, so you can take your game that you've been playing on your PC or console on the go with you, so you're always connected to this ever updating world, this lively world, people would think this is the next greatest thing. But them forcing you to play it on a mobile and probably putting in less effort, probably putting in a lower budget because it's only a mobile game, that's why people are upset. And if that was Halo, if that was Gears, I would be up in arms too. So I can see where the Diablo fans are going at.
Hungry companies used to do that. Here's the exclusive game, and by the way, we have the phone edition, not the other way around.
Yeah,
exactly.
Oh my god!
Look at NetherRealm. Like, they release Injustice. There's an Injustice mobile game now. It's not nearly the same as the console one, but you get to unlock some stuff there. You actually get to unlock some like costumes and everything from playing the mobile version. That's the way to do it.
Right, absolutely.
So, Rand, did we do our job in making you care now?
Does he want it now?
Yeah. Do you want Diablo mobile now?
Yeah, I can't wait to play it. I am a mobile gamer.
And on the fair side, if any game could be on mobile, I think kind of Diablo works, because I'm not into those games, but it just looks like a mobile game to me. The top-down view, it always looks like a mobile gameplay.
I agree.
It really did.
All right, I gotta get controversial, because that's me. Because like Z said, I want all that smoke. I'm gonna be honest with you. Diablo, when I played it, who cares?
Yeah, for me.
But no, I'm not going to say that the genre is not for me. I'm going to tell you what in my mind, which is a better game. Van Helsing, the Van Helsing series is a better game. I was bored playing Diablo. I was bored playing Diablo, and I know a lot of Diablo players. Like I said, I know the people that go to BlizzCon. There is a lot of fanfare love with Diablo, but a lot of it too is just what was the trading. I mean, I know they gotten rid of it, but the trading store where you could actually sell for 8,000 Bitcoin the helmet of Osiris or whatever the hell it was. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of superficial shit going on too with Diablo, but I am not the biggest fan of the Diablo series, but I like that genre, and you know, I kind of feel what Rand feels. I don't care about that game per se, but I do feel for the people that invested in going out there and hearing that. And I also got to say, shame to you, to those, even, you know, a lot of people that I like in the industry, you know, that said we are entitled and all that other stuff. That, to me, that doesn't make any sense, because where else do you say that the consumer is entitled, for one? And for two, the problem isn't, let me go back a little bit. Okay, so remember Mass Effect 3, the blowback it got, right? Because the last 5 minutes of the game. Mind you, not the other 75 hours in the game and the 200 to 300 plus hours in the whole series, but because of the last 5 minutes of the game, it got all this blowback. People were suing in England or whatever. There was lawsuits, all this crazy stuff. Petitions to burn the babies of the developers. All this crazy stuff was going on. Industry was quiet as mum for a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? But there weren't any entitled gamers there because they were upset about the cutscenes too. But now I think what it is a lot of people in the industry don't care about Diablo, like me, like Atia, like most of us on this panel. So now they're saying that gamers are entitled. This is not about, you got to get your mind out of Diablo. This is just about gaming, period. You have a fanatical group that you are having them pay money. Only someone that's fanatical would pay $50 to see your live stream on Twitch, for crying out loud. Only someone, and then they come to see this. You tease a Diablo game, which you know they're going to want, they're going to expect it to be PC, and it's a mobile game. And then if we go by lethal source, if it happens to be correct, a reskin of a Chinese mobile game. I mean, come on,
that's true. You know,
like, geez. Like, stop the madness. Let's make a change. Okay?
I want to get off this ride. Right? And they said today, if I'm not mistaken, Activision Blizzard said that they're working on mobile games for every single one of their IPs.
Okay.
So that means StarCraft mobile. Yeah. That means Overwatch mobile.
Yep.
What else does Blizzard have? Warcraft mobile.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, people are gonna lose their shit with the Warcraft one.
So
absolutely.
Yeah. But dude, how about nethilez dishing out L's today though? Huh?
I mean, I thought I was dishing out L's, but that shit backfired on me. I got I got lawyers over there about this one.
Not the quiet man, not the quiet man L's, because when you try to dish out L's to the PlayStation fans, they somehow throw it back.
They lawyer up,
right? Yeah,
they lawyer up.
They make excuses to why they can't accept those L's. I was more talking about the Red Dead 2.
Oh, that shit. I remember, even MM2K was the one who got on this one. So I remember back when they Battlefield 5 and then.
Oh, hold on. You're botting you a little bit. Hold on. Okay. All right, you're good. Go ahead.
I'm good?
Okay, yep.
Okay, so I remember back when they delayed Battlefield 5 and people were saying, looks like Battlefield bended the knee. I was like, yeah, they bended the knee, but this was due to Call of Duty and Red Dead 2 coming out, not this whole women and the game type thing. And people weren't believing that. It said Battlefield is a more popular franchise than Red Dead Redemption. I fought tooth and nail, but apparently I was the idiot. Do you remember this, MM2K?
Oh yeah, I remember it because it was the SJWs. There was the SJWs that were destroying Battlefield, and I don't like it. I'll let you finish. I don't get political.
The SJWs.
SJWs.
The women's in Battlefield.
Yeah, the women. Yeah.
Women's.
So apparently Battlefield had to delay because of that, but it wasn't because you had Call of Duty coming out and Call of Duty's doing really, really well this year. It wasn't because the threat of Red Dead Redemption 2 that made like every game fucking move. Anthem was in February. Every game went to February and Red Dead 2 came out on the holidays. That isn't a coincidence. And Call of Duty didn't move up to their earliest date ever, being October 12th, for no reason.
Exactly.
You don't just move an entire month out of nowhere.
Yep.
And now Red Dead 2 has shipped how many, Rand?
17 million copies in 8 days.
Ooh.
Which is more than Red Dead 1 ever even sold.
Good Lord.
But I was told Battlefield is easily a bigger franchise than Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah. Look, man. I had to get, and big ups to Soul if he's still in the chat. For those of you that are boxing fans, and those of you that know who Roy Jones Jr. is, okay, Roy Jones Jr. in his prime, you know, he was beating the snot out of other boxers, you know, with his hands tied behind his back. Now he's getting slapped all over your local corner bar, you know, fighting for a pack of Cools in the Mountain Dew. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to see Roy Jones Jr. fight anymore, right? With that said, if I'm an up-and-coming boxer, say if I'm 20-0, and 20 knockouts, and if you compare me to all the fights that Roy Jones Jr. had, yeah, of course his stats are going to look better. But it's about what's relevant now. And everybody ran from being around the same date that Red Dead Redemption 2 was coming out, like a criminal fleeing to Amsterdam, right? You know what I'm saying? Or Switzerland. Look, nobody's picking up Battlefield saying, hey, back in 2002, you know, they sold 15 million copies. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares anymore. And I was one of those people that bought it back then. Nobody cares, okay? They're looking at what's hot right now, and what's hot right now is Rockstar, Red Dead Redemption. Nobody really gave a shit about Battlefield's lineage. They didn't say, I'm not going to partake in Red Dead Redemption because Battlefield sold 15 million in 2003 on some old-ass Tandy 1000 PC. No one cares, okay? So it wasn't the SJWs. Get off of that kick. Everybody that wants to fight a political battle, I'm not going to get into whose side is right or whatever, but anybody that wants to fight a political battle, to me, you're an SJW. You're a social justice warrior because you're fighting for your social justice beliefs. That's it, period. So let's stop that. Battlefield backed off because Red Dead Redemption is a big freaking deal, and we showed it was a big freaking deal. Like Rand said, 17 million more than what?
17 million in 8 days, which is more than Red Dead 1 ever did. In 8 years.
Come on.
So in a week, they outsold the previous game.
Jesus.
Wow.
I mean, it's the previous game. That's ridiculous.
It's going to be the best-selling game of the year. Like, no questions asked.
Yep.
And people, I don't know, man. Like, you knew something was up the moment, like Nethil said, the moment Call of Duty moved to October, you knew something.
Right.
I even had
never
control about that. They told me, well, you see, Call of Duty's been moving their release dates steadily every year. So I pulled up some dates. Every Call of Duty release in November, some maybe a little bit earlier November, but Black Ops 4 is October 12th. Yeah. That makes no sense.
Yep.
The whole month.
Yeah, yep. And Battlefield, they got caught in the middle. They were like, well, we can't go any earlier than Call of Duty. And we're in the middle here, we're the filling in the Oreo cookie, right? And they're like, we got to move. But dude, I mean, I worry about like Hitman 2 now, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't think anybody's gonna buy Hitman 2 because literally everybody just bought.
I forgot all about it.
I forgot what's coming out, man.
It's already doomed.
Yeah.
That's a bad decision, yeah.
Yeah, it's you know what? I'm not even sure it's Red Dead. I think it's just Rockstar. I think Rockstar is just that other level. Well, actually, I think it's a little bit of both, because if Rockstar were to pull out Bully 2, I don't think Bully 2 pulls in 17 million in 8 days.
Nah, yeah, I agree with that.
But Rockstar is the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
Yep. So
when they got a hit, they got a hit, and it's an uber hit. Like they work on it when they see success, their level of success is in a different stratosphere. Period.
Mm-hmm. And I've told people, like, Rockstar has always been a huge developer. They've already had a big pedigree, but ever since GTA 5, people know that next Rockstar game is where it's going to be at. GTA 5 lasts you 8 years, probably going to last you 10 or more. Like, the game's still popping to this day, so people are going to hop on their next big project. So Red Dead 2 was that next big project. And I see you in the chat there, Soul King, because you were also one of those people that said Battlefield's a bigger franchise. I got to agree with Griff on this one. No, you take the L2.
I stand by what I said.
If we're going by like copies
we're going
sold.
by overall sales, but I don't think it's fair to compare like what 10 plus Battlefield games to like 2 Red Dead ones.
Yeah, I mean, you know, well, that's the thing. Like, you could argue, obviously, Call of Duty's bigger than Red Dead, but Red Dead just outsold Call of Duty.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
I mean, it's Red Dead's
when
bigger.
you got the influence to make people run away from you, that shows you're the big dog.
Yep, and just wait. If you think these numbers are big, wait till they put out Grand Theft Auto 6.
Oh man, forget about it.
Yeah.
Even like the Rockstar haters, but suddenly there's a bunch of Rockstar haters I noticed in the year when Sony drops a lot of good games. But I'm gonna digress on that one.
Oh.
Even they're gonna be hopping on that GTA 6.
Hey, nethilez, you might have to drop out and drop back in your bot in a little bit.
Damn. All right.
No, he brings up a good point. You know, I mean, that's what I said. I put out a tweet not too long ago. Like, imagine this. Who would have thunk that, you know, Red Dead comes out and PlayStation fans are hating on it, man. Hating on it. They're hating on it big time. It's not fun. I mean, you're hearing shit. Red Dead is not fun. It makes you fish, you know, shit like that. I who would have thunk that you would have heard that? But hey, whatever. Any other thoughts on that before we move to the next subject matter?
No, sir.
No, not exactly on that. But when you do get a chance, if you guys can help me out with a TRS Fusionwolf as a moron moment, I do have a question.
That is a popular section of the show.
That is one of the most popular sections on
so
Earth.
You are a moron. No. what is the TRS moron moment?
Okay, all right. You guys were talking about the streaming earlier and how lucrative that could possibly be. The reason why I have a question is because there was a lot of confusion that I had as far as the consoles with Xbox, in particular the Project Scorpio. And from what I had thought in the beginning, what I had thought, I thought Project Scorpio was going to be the next Xbox One X, like it would be the Xbox One 2 or Xbox 2X or something like that. I thought it was going to be this incredible thing, just to find out that it was just like a more improved design of the console with the Project Scorpio code name on the controller and the console, which really does nothing for me. But then I started to hear more about the codename Scarlet that's supposed to be coming out. You know what I mean? And it's supposed to arrive as soon as 2020. And here's the question: it actually has 2 variations. That standard high-powered console, and it also has a cheaper cloud-based device that streams games from the internet. If the streaming is supposed to be so lucrative, it's supposed to be the next thing, why is the lower, cheaper version the one that enforces and promotes the streaming? You kind of see what I mean? Do you guys understand?
Yeah. So you're basically asking, okay, if with streaming, why is it the lower, cheaper model?
Why is it being not advertised as the hot shit? Why is it okay? So we've got this awesome console, but then we do have the lower level one, and it streams.
Okay, well here
it streams.
I think part of that answer would be, and anybody else want to pick up after this, part of the answer would be is that if these have been officially announced, but they're like in the prototype stages right now. They're not even available.
Right.
The only thing that's available is the Project Scorpio / what is now the Xbox One X. When as far as streaming is concerned, I mean, there are the streaming services, like I talked about this a couple weeks ago, the Google Stream service, where any shitty laptop that you have, shitty PC, you can stream Assassin's Creed Odyssey at close to 1080p 60, as long as you have 25 up and 25 down as far as your internet speed. And that's impressive because Ubisoft games are known to be not the best optimized games out there. Yeah. So, but as far as the streaming service is concerned, Microsoft, right, Rand, they haven't talked a lot. I mean, they've mentioned that this is where they're going, but we haven't got a lot of information on it besides that one video, right?
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what the pricing is, or I mean, it's all just rumors at this point. But I mean, the consoles are going to be for the hardcore people that don't want to stream, and the streaming box is going to be cheap because it's going to target an audience that may not want to spend money on a console, right? I still would think if you wanted to, the Xbox Scarlet will probably still be capable of streaming. I couldn't imagine why it wouldn't be if you wanted to do it. It's just, I think Microsoft's going to try to cover all their bases. They're going to have a high-powered console for the super hardcore like us, right? And they're going to have a cheaper SKU, which is just kind of my prediction. I think Microsoft's going to have 2 Xbox Scarlet consoles and a streaming box. So they'll have a console priced underneath the PlayStation 5, but more powerful than the Xbox One X, and then they'll have a console more expensive than the PlayStation 5 and more powerful than it. And also at the same time, you'll have this streaming box that's really cheap. So Microsoft can kind of attack all segments of the market at the same time. That's what I think they're going to do.
Can you guys hear
So
me?
is it basically because they're not sure of the power of the streaming device as far as how lucrative it would be? Is that why we're coming out with the options like that? Why the streaming isn't enforced as the sole priority type thing?
Because Microsoft learned very smartly from 2013 when you try to change things about how people game.
Right.
People get upset. So even though Microsoft may want everybody to stream, they're not dumb enough to say this is the only way to do it, especially if your competition's then going to be like, by the way, we're still just going to do it the same way it's always been done.
Right.
10 years from now, it's possible it's just streaming.
Yeah, it's just streaming,
You know,
Yeah, I agree with that.
For the next 6 years, 7 years, there'll be a console. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
I was cut out, so I just want to ask a quick question. So, Rand, what's your opinion on the whole nobody left behind aspect? Like, do you think the Xbox One S and base model are going to continue or are going to be disconnected?
Stream boxes, possibly, huh?
I mean,
Yeah, I heard that as a theory, but what do you think? Like, leave no gamer behind or whatever. Do you think the Xbox One S and base model will still continue on, or they can be like discontinued basically, and Microsoft will stop supporting?
I think at some point they will be discontinued and no longer supported.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead, Rand. I'm sorry.
I would say that I would see that maybe 2 years into the gen. You know what I mean? Like when they start seeing nobody's really buying those anymore.
Yeah.
I would see it just be like.
I heard a theory that maybe they'll just make them start streaming games since they won't be able to keep it at one point, but I wasn't sure about that.
Are they going to be able to stream the games though?
I don't
You know
know.
what I
I
mean?
mean, if your laptop,
That's a good question.
I mean, it's like I don't know. That's the thing. Like we're talking about things that we don't have the answers to because Microsoft hasn't announced any of this stuff. Like it's like people who make videos about is Xbox going to dominate next generation? Is PlayStation going to dominate? It's like we don't have enough information to make a decision.
We have no freaking idea.
Yeah, we don't know what years they're coming out in. We don't know what price points. We don't know the specs inside. We don't know if one company is going to make a mistake versus the other. You can't sit here in 2018 and be like, definitively say one's going to do. Like, what if PlayStation launches next year and Xbox is 2020?
Yeah.
How does that change things? What if PlayStation 5, what if Sony's like, it's $700?
Yep.
You know, what if Xbox launches next year and PlayStation doesn't launch till 2020? What if someone hacks PSN and that goes down for 2 months?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many variables about what could possibly happen that it's hard to accurately. What if streaming really takes off? What if it's the next big thing? And because of streaming, Microsoft is king of the video game market because they have, you know, the Azure cloud.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's too many variables at this point to like. That's why I haven't made a video because it's like. I wouldn't, you know, I could speculate about stuff, but there's no facts to back anything up.
Well, Rand, you know those are the videos that get 7 million views. You know, the ones with the thumbnails of the Xbox One that looks like the Starship Enterprise and shit. You know what I mean?
I wish I could make thumbnails like that.
Yeah, exactly. The warped console. No, that's a very good point. And to Rand's point, Microsoft learned its lesson. They're not. Even though they know which direction you're going to go, they're not going to play the crossing guard and say, come this way. You know, they're not going to blow their whistle and make you do it. They're just going to sit there, watch when you do it and say, here you go. All right. You know what I mean? So it is what it is because you got to give that perception to the gamer that they're totally in control because if you don't, you're going to get the backlash of 2013.
Oh, yeah. I can think about it. Sony learned from their mistakes with the PS3. Nintendo learned from their mistakes with the Wii U. So it looks like Microsoft hopefully learned from their mistakes with the Xbox One, man.
Yeah, and I'm sure they honestly have, because they are making good strides. You can complain that those studio acquisitions aren't your thing, but at least they're doing something.
Right.
They adhere to the problem. They understand they have an issue.
Yeah.
But speaking of what Rand was talking about those variables, Rand, I don't know if your opinion has changed at all, but when do you think the next generation really starts? When do you think that PS5 drops or maybe Xbox 2 drops? I was always with the 2020, but there's so many reports saying PS5 might really be 2019. What do you think?
I think they're both 2020.
Yeah, it was 2020.
I was for a long time on PlayStation 5 2019, Xbox 2020, but talking to some people I know, they're convinced that PlayStation 5 is 2020.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they will announce it next year, though.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be. Maybe. I don't know. It all depends. Like I saw the leaks that everybody ran with today.
Yeah, I don't know about those ones.
Incredibly fake.
Like Matt said, those are some dream specs in there.
The yellow number 5 specs. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's 2020. It could be next year. I guess we'll find out soon. If February rolls around and there's no PlayStation event in New York, does that rule it out? Or we won't rule it out until E3 and they don't mention anything in E3? Is that officially ruled out then, or what? Like, when do you rule out PlayStation 5 for 2019?
They haven't prepped enough. Like, I mean, normally when there's a console release, there's some prepping, there's some heavy hitting in the Game Informers all across the interwebs, the internets. And then, like you said, there's presentations and shows. Sony would literally have to say, and in 3 months, we're letting you know there's a PlayStation 5 coming out. Like, I've never seen that before. So that's why I'm thinking definitely. I think even now, just with like you said, Rand, with them dropping PSX, them stealthily not even doing the Paris Game Show, right? Nobody's talking about that.
Right.
And there hasn't been enough prepping of the core demographic or anybody to set the groundwork for a PlayStation 5 to me, but that could just be me.
Well, I mean, even look at their game situation next year. You have Days Gone launching in April.
Yeah.
To me, that says they can either launch one of the following 3 next year as well. Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, or Death Stranding. Like one other game. I don't think they can launch 3 of them. I don't think they can launch an extra 2.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think it's probably going to be Last of Us Part 2. And then 2020 will be Death Stranding and Ghost of Tsushima, and it'll be the launch of the console. I don't know, but like, I guess my question is, when can we rule out PS5 for 2019? Is it E3, or is it like February rolls around and there's no PlayStation event in New York? Like, nethilez, what do you think? When can you rule it out? When can you rule out PlayStation 5 for next year?
If they don't announce it around E3 time.
So you're thinking that,
then yeah.
So you're thinking like they don't even have to do a reveal event like they did in New York?
Oh, that's what I mean. Like, if they don't do that or announce it at E3, then there's no way there's gonna be a PlayStation 5 next year.
Right.
I don't even think you get the E3.
Microsoft announced with the Xbox One in like May of the year it launched.
Right. Yeah, it was in May.
It was in May, and Sony announced the PS5 in February.
Yeah, exactly. So if they don't follow that pattern between February and May, there's not going to be a PS5 next year.
I agree with you.
What do you say, Griggity? What do you think? They got to make an announcement by when?
I think what Rand said. I don't think it will make it to E3. I think if it's really coming out next year, they will have that special show before E3.
Yeah.
That'd be something interesting to look at to see what the trends are. I think you normally start laying the groundwork a full year in advance. Yeah. I think. Yeah. I could be wrong. Actually,
Microsoft announcing the Scorpio a year earlier. That's the first time that happened, right? Or am I wrong? Like a company announced a console a year before. Mm-hmm. Is that the first time that happened?
I don't know. It's definitely worth looking into. Yeah. I just get this feeling that there hasn't been enough groundwork laid for there to be a PlayStation 5 coming out, or even an Xbox. I think that they're both gonna. I think they're both.
I mean, I think they will announce it next year and talk about what's coming. Like
absolutely.
how Microsoft announced the Xbox Scorpio. We have a 6 teraflop machine coming out, and they did this whole cool promo video, and we were all on board. Maybe PlayStation will mimic that somehow. Who knows?
Yeah. Right, possibly.
Everybody,
because that made their E3 a big deal that year. Like 2017, we couldn't stop talking about the Scorpio until it fucking launched.
Yep.
Oh man, and that single-handedly stopped that power talk. That was great. But then they dropped the
whole
ball
resolution they died, and people can't deny that.
Oh yeah, it immediately went down on it. What was that? IGN sites. You know, remember IGN had the comparison videos that they
Wait a minute. PlayStation guys told me there never was a resolution date.
Oh my god.
It never. There were games. They knew games were coming out, Rand. You know, games that they didn't even know about, that Sony didn't even know about. But and even though. And what was that? Adam and I always get his name wrong. Andrew House said, "Yeah, we know our game lineup is sparse, but no, the games were out." So,
but the worst thing that happened after we took the power crown back, PSX 2016.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, E3 2016, Sony's E3 2016, and then PSX. That whole power thing didn't matter anymore because PlayStation had the games coming.
Had the games. Had the games, man.
PlayStation wisely showed everything they had for the rest of the generation.
It fucking works. It worked.
I actually think Sony's E3 2016 was the best conference this generation.
Probably.
Yeah, the debut of God of War and Spider-Man and Days Gone.
We had some damage control on that one, but I'll leave that alone.
Stop being messy, Nethos. Stop. But yeah. I mean, look, the biggest strategy that Sony did, and Randall, and it's funny, we go full circle. Randall talked about it the last time he was here. When Sony pulled the rug from everyone's feet and didn't go with the DRM. That put Xbox in a perpetual catch-up game this entire generation, because then they had the power narrative. 1080p makes you 1080p 60
and the
makes
price
you better
narrative, which I think is more important.
Exactly. Yeah, that did help as well. But you had people, and we were just talking about this last night, Nethos. You had people mimicking that. 1080p makes me man, that looks so good. Meanwhile, they didn't even have any fucking 1080p TVs. They had 720p TVs. And they were talking about, this 1080p looks great. No, you don't even know it does. And it just went on and on. And then Microsoft picks up the power narrative, and then they switch to the games. So it is what it is. Hopefully they learned their lesson.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, this is a perfect segue. I mean, we'll get a clear indication if they learn their lesson, and I think we can close out with this. XO 2018 predictions. Okay, Randolph Thor said it himself. For them to have this event, it shows some pretty big balls. So let's start with Nethos. Nethos, what are your 2018? Just give us one. You ain't gonna give us all, because I know we're gonna be doing 1,000 other shows. Right?
Yeah.
Just give us one 2018 XO event prediction that you may have that a lot of us may have not covered yet, or whether we covered it or not. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think I'll do kind of two. So basically, you're going to see some future games. Like I'm hearing Ninja Theory could show something. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a huge game, but they could show something. And I really do think you're going to get a studio acquisition, such as with Obsidian Studios, maybe Turtle Rock, but probably Obsidian.
Okay, good. Griggity, what are your thoughts? What do you think is going to be an XO event?
Well, I'm not great at predicting things, but I have a prediction. I'm not predicting a new game or any big announcements. I'm going to predict that Crackdown 3 is going to blow us away.
Ooh, I like that.
That's my prediction. My prediction is Crackdown 3 is gonna. Oh shit! Crackdown looks hype. Crackdown,
Xbox fans might say that, but I already know the stables will be upset.
Of course they will. But that's my prediction. I mean, I'm really feeling that way. That it really might blow us away. Obviously, I could be wrong.
I think people need to also realize that Crackdown's multiplayer. Which is 100% destructible, right? I know this. It's only 5v5.
Okay.
So yeah. So like I think a lot of people watch when they reveal it on Saturday. A lot of people will go and say, "I thought this was 100 people and blah 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 blah." Right?
Of course.
It's 5v5.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's fully
I'm gonna go down the ship with this L or whatever, but I still think I'm only getting a mediocre game. Maybe it'll blow me away, but I'm going down with the ship on this L.
Well,
if it happens or not.
I think it'll be better than Sea of Thieves and State of Decay 2.
Yeah, but still a mediocre game. That's what I'm going with.
Well, I mean, I guess what would if a game's mediocre? What rating would you give it?
Get him, Rand. Get him. Don't let him get away with it.
If a game's mediocre, it's typically in the 70s, but I have to play it to know if it's mediocre or not.
7 out of 10 is mediocre. Okay.
Yeah, I mean that's about a C. So a C is a mediocre grade.
Yeah, I mean
that's how I go by. I go by it with grades. Like a B is pretty good, A fantastic, C average.
Mediocre to me is like a 5 or a 6.
Yeah.
Like 7's good, 8's great, 9's exceptional, 10's masterpiece.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's kind of like how I think about things.
Yeah, I mean to me a 5 out of 10 it's fucking F. That's a failure. I go teacher mode on that shit.
Yeah, well, being that I'm from the Catholic school teaching school. Well, no. Before we get into my babble, Rand, come on, predictions.
Crackdown. I think people will be happy, and it's going to launch on February 15th.
Mm-hmm.
I think Age of Empires will get announced for Xbox, as well as Gears Tactics with mouse and keyboard support. I think PUBG will be announced to be coming to Game Pass.
With a new map, huh?
Yeah. What else? I think Microsoft will show something for Gears, because Mexico City or Mexico in general is like Gears country.
Oh, okay.
And I think they'll end the show, or they'll end it with Ninja Theory's new game, but they'll also announce the acquisition of Obsidian.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping for a really good, tightly paced show. 2 hours, please. Please don't do any escape rooms. I don't want to see any of that stuff.
You don't want to find
Rand, is this led by like Phil Spencer, or is this still a Major Nelson show?
I mean, it's still inside Xbox.
Well,
but
yeah,
Phil's gonna be there. Matt Booty's gonna be there.
Yeah, so like it's more led by them, not maybe.
Yeah, so the way I see it is like Phil's gonna be there for a segment, and he'll probably announce the new acquisition, Obsidian, right? And then Matt Booty will come on later, and since he's in charge of first party, he'll show off Ninja Theory's new game. At least that's how I have it in my head. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Rand, before. Can you? I'm sorry, Griggity. Can you answer this real quick? Because Callie Rex in the chat brought up a good point. So he says, MM2K, I don't think Gears Tactics will come to Xbox otherwise. What was the point of making it PC exclusive? You talked about this a few months ago on your channel, and could you elaborate why it very likely that it came on PC first, opposed to coming directly to Xbox?
Hello? Me?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll do this because I know you talked about a lot of stuff, so you probably can't remember off the back of your head. But I remember you saying that it likely is because Microsoft has data in front of them that shows that these tactical type games, they do better when they're catered for PC, right?
Yeah, it's made first for PC. They had a big problem with Halo Wars 2 because Halo Wars 2 was dumbed down to the point so it could work on console that PC gamers didn't like it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what they're doing with Age of Empires 4 and Gears Tactics is making it a great PC game, and then essentially porting it to Xbox. Like I know Gears Tactics is coming to Xbox. Like I know this for 100%. It's coming. Now whether or not it's going to have controller support or just be a keyboard and mouse game, I'm not sure, but it is coming. But yeah, that's kind of what I had heard.
Yeah. No, and that's makes perfect sense to me. Like I was one of those people like, oh the hell, this ain't coming, and Gears Tactics ain't coming. But then if that's the data that they have in front of them, that it works, because PC gamers, and I'm one of them, we're nativists. We can be nativists. You know what I mean? The wing that doesn't want anything to do with console. So they got to play that perception game. They got to release it first. make them feel special, pat them on the head and stroke their back, and then release it on console. You know what I'm saying? And hey, look, we're dying and thirsting for exclusives, so we'll play it anyway if it's a good game. With that said, I'm sorry, nethilez, what were you about to say?
Oh, I mean, kind of like what Rand said. So, like, maybe I was one of those people that was really upset by the whole Minecraft thing. I'm like, how is Xbox lacking exclusives and you're suddenly making PC ones on top of it? But if it's like he said, it makes the game better, such as if Halo Wars 2 was more in depth and if it was a better game due to it being prioritized for the PC, then maybe I can kind of lean back, because I feel like Halo Wars 2 was a good game, but it could have been a lot better, especially with the developer behind, because that's the developer that does Age of Empires, like Shogun Total War is a fantastic game. Halo Wars 2 was nothing like that game.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, were you about to say something, Griggity?
Yeah, I just have one more question before we get out of here. Are you guys expecting any third-party world premieres there?
I have one for my prediction. That was going to be my prediction. Expect to see Splinter Cell.
Yeah,
Splinter
Cell. Did say third
Oh.
party's going to be there.
You're breaking my heart here, man.
I'm playing with Rand's emotions. Yep.
Yeah, but to say Rand has waited too long.
Expect
I
to see
don't-
Splinter Cell.
I don't think there's going to be any third-party premieres unless it's like a smaller title.
Yeah.
Division 2 is going to be there. Devil May Cry. Some of
What
the
about
games.
Anthem?
That'll be cool.
Anthem probably will be there too.
Yeah, I think Anthem wants like another reveal because that EA shit didn't really work.
But yeah, as far as Splinter Cell, I don't see it happening. The only way it could happen is if Microsoft literally funded the game. But I just don't see it, so I'm not expecting it.
But do you think the game exists?
It did at one point, and I'm pretty sure.
The Walmart list was pretty accurate, right? And it was on there, right?
Oh, you think it might have been canceled?
I'm pretty sure it was canceled.
geez.
But I know somebody who's played it 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I asked.
And yeah, he's pretty sure that the game was canceled in favor for that Battle of Atlas game that was recently came out.
What the fuck's that?
That game came out a couple weeks ago.
How much that game did? Never heard of it.
It was made by Ubisoft Toronto. It was like a Star Fox game.
Yeah, oh, you're talking about the one with the toys? Was that?
Yeah, that game.
Oh,
Oh,
that
fuck
shit.
that.
Oh,
They canceled Splinter Cell for that shit?
yeah.
I mean, Splinter Cell didn't make any
Probably
money.
made way
So
more
I mean,
money.
What's his name? Gitmo Yeeves. That's his name, right? The CEO.
Man, Splinter Cell Blacklist was so fucking good that like when I came to backwards compatibility, I got to finally play it.
Hey,
Fantastic game.
Yeah. I got to play it because I never got a chance to play it because the Xbox One came out like a month later.
Yeah, it's on backwards compatibility. It's fantastic.
Oh,
Even
yeah,
though it's
oh,
pretty good.
but apparently nobody bought it.
Oh.
Yeah.
So
You know what? We almost forgot. Hey, TRS, what mobile game you want to see at EXO this year?
We want to see the Angry Birds 3.
You think you're gonna see that streaming shit though?
I'm not very
Xbox?
excited about the show. I want to watch it for the sake of entertainment, but personally, I'm just tired of seeing the same games being previewed to me. That I'm still trying to catch up with what's going to really exist from the last E3. So it's a repetitive thing for me right now. But at least it's good for entertainment. I just hope something good comes out eventually. Maybe this year. Maybe while I'm still alive.
Well, you still got that Sea of Thieves DLC to look forward to.
Yeah, right.
Hey, I got to be honest, though. I'm kind of curious about what State of Decay is going to announce. 'Cause I actually like that game. I hated Sea of Thieves, but I actually like State of Decay.
Sega
Yeah, I
honestly
have
did have potential. Like I think it came out like a mess, but it had potential to be good.
Yeah, but I'm kind of curious to see what they're going to announce with there.
Yeah, I hear. I mean, there was a stealth update to make the graphics look a little bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
But I think we're winding down now. So before I go, I just want to ask the panel a quick question. What defines an exclusive game?
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
All around the panel. What defines that?
All right.
I got categories for it, in my opinion, but you guys go ahead.
I'll give my take. Here's what this is going to be controversial, but who gives a shit? I need the clicks. Hit the like button. Look, a console, an exclusive is based upon the platform that is quote unquote exclusive to that it only premieres on, right? Now, being that we're in 2018 and we're going into the future, we're going into the stream age, right? you can no longer base a platform on the hardware where it's available, in my mind, right? You have to base it upon the service provider. And one of the things that irks me, which people don't realize, is that when you consider PC a platform, how can you can't consider PC as a platform. I can understand you considering Windows a platform because Windows is managed by Microsoft. But any of these other, you can't consider PC a platform because you're basing off of hardware. Who manages PC? Who's the single PC maker? There is none. There is a Microsoft that makes Xbox. There is a Sony that makes PlayStation. There's a Nintendo that makes the Switch, but there is no company the one sole company that makes the PC. So when people sit there and say, no, it's available on the PC, it's not an exclusive, to me, that's bullpucky in a lot of ways. PC is not a single managed platform. So you can't do that. You can say that about Windows. You can't say that about Linux because Linux is open source code, in a lot of ways. It's not managed by a company entity at that level. So to me, whoever is the service provider, right, for the either the operating system or the streaming service or whatever, whoever is the entity that owns that application that it's available on, I think determines whether it's exclusive or not. So when you have a game like The Quiet Man, I think it's fair to consider it a console exclusive. It's a console exclusive that's also available on the Windows platform. You know what I mean? It's not available on every normal game. Can you play it on the Switch? No. You know what I'm saying? Can you play it on Linux? Well, Linux doesn't count, but it's not available everywhere. So because it's not available everywhere, I don't think you can consider it a multi-class. That's just my thoughts. Anybody want to pick up on that?
That was one long-worded answer. My thing is, as long as it's only one console it's available on,
that's mine too.
Console exclusive.
Well, people, I said in the video yesterday about PUBG, right?
Yeah.
And I titled the video, Xbox loses exclusive, and everybody in there is laughing, even though they all fell for exactly what I was trying to do.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, oh, it's on PC.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I understand it's on PC, right? Like, it's console exclusive. There's a reason that term exists, right? Console exclusive.
Right.
Only on a certain console. Not, I don't know, like the PC guys getting really tizzy about the terminology and stuff, and like who funds it. Well, you can't really. It's not Sony that made it. It's Square Enix.
They lawyer up on that one.
Yeah.
It's like, were you not like? Here's the thing: it's like you were praising Hellblade all day long.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Right.
Yep.
Now, and the funny thing is, I remember certain people in this community, like when Quiet Man was announced as a PlayStation exclusive, they were super excited.
What Quantum Break should have been.
Yeah.
But where are those guys at now? They silent.
Yep.
Which but the thing is, if it was really good, those same people wouldn't be silent.
Yeah.
And people would be saying, just another banger for PlayStation. Right?
Exactly.
Just another banger for PlayStation.
But now I have people caping for this game saying, well, it's Square Enix. It's an L for Square Enix. And sure, it is an L for them or whoever the fuck made this thing. But at the end of the day, it's still a PlayStation 4 exclusive. You can't just erase that because you don't want it to be.
PlayStation had to say, look, the game wasn't made and then the Square Enix said, here, Yoshida, sell this game. No, PlayStation had to allow that game on their platform. For some reason, Microsoft did not have that same opportunity or didn't want the opportunity. It is exclusive. Can we pull out the dictionary and see what it's a console exclusive to PlayStation. PC is not a managed platform because there is not a single PC maker. It is a console exclusive to PlayStation. They get that.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I find weird though is there was a game just right before this one called Dream Daddy, and we were all clowning this game. But do you know what's weird about the MM2K? I did not see an uproar. My troll tweet did not blow up. And I wonder if that was because maybe it was a different circumstance, maybe people didn't care, or was it that Game Daddy somehow managed to score higher on Metacritic than Sea of Thieves? But when they saw a game score a whopping 36, they're like, we have to erase this game out of existence.
Yeah, they want a cape for PlayStation. No.
And we even had some bully on bully crime over there. I was surprised by that one myself. Maybe I was wrong for comparing it to Sea of Thieves because that is a first-party Microsoft game. But the point of my tweet is, to explain it to you guys, was I was taking Microsoft, what I believe is their lowest exclusive Metacritic of 2018. I'm pretty sure Sea of Thieves takes the cake for the lowest Metacritic of 2018 exclusive to Xbox console-wise to Sony's lowest game in 2018 exclusive console-wise over there. That was the point of that tweet. And everyone had to take that left and said, how dare you compare a third-party side game to a first-party one?
Look, when you go to a store, unless you're a vegan or you're going to Whole Foods, aka Whole Paycheck, when you go to a store and you buy grapes, you say, ooh, those are the grapes that I like. You don't say, ooh, these are the grapes that were grown in West Virginia at 3 a.m. Nobody cares where they came from. You're just worried about the overall end product. So who gives a shit if Square Enix made it? The overall end product is exclusive to that console. Stop trying to damage control for play. Look, PlayStation gets the L. I'm sorry. Griggity, did you have any thoughts on that?
No, man, I think y'all covered it pretty much.
I mean, this shit is ridiculous. Hey, TRS, I mean, what do you think?
My concept is pretty much the same. I thought it was for consoles.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? I couldn't hear you guys for a second. It got kind of muffled. I apologize if I interrupted. No, I'm not. But anyway, I'm just saying that when I think of exclusive, I think of back in the days. If it was that particular console, that's what I thought it was. But I've seen that change over the years.
Definitely.
Like, I mean, I don't mind if you say, I mean, you have to compare a side game to a Microsoft first party. That is fair. That's a fair criticism. But at the end of the day, let's not go here and pretend these games aren't exclusive. That's not to say it has to be Sony funded, Sony published in order to be exclusive.
Right.
That's simple.
Yeah. It had to be made at this sweatshop at 3:45 p.m.
Hey, I saw that tweet that you put, nethilez, that you gave great examples. Persona 5, Street Fighter 5.
Yeah.
Those games are exclusive. They were exclusives before, so why are you guys saying
all of a sudden
none of those are published by Sony?
Yeah, like come on, we need to stop. The product is available on your platform, and it's exclusive to your platform. So you either worked out a deal for that to happen, and you decided to do that, and now you have the likes of Quiet Man and Burly Men at Sea.
Yeah, exactly. We make fun of Sea of Thieves. Come on.
I'll pass. I'll pass.
You'll pass.
Burly Men at Sea.
Burly Men at Sea. I'll pass on that.
I'm married. No, thank you. Okay. All right. So, with that said, I think we're going to close out.
Yeah.
I want to thank the illustrious panel and our special guest, Randolph Thor 19. We don't care about nethilez. He ain't shit. But no, for coming through today. Thank you so much, peoples. Again, check out Scram Punks. I know we at the studio, we have been slacking. It's gonna be on iTunes very soon. We got 4 episodes to put out there, so check us out there. And then we're gonna do some EXO stuff. Rand is gonna do some EXO stuff. So check out everybody's channels. You know what I mean. More to come on that soon. And again, check out Randall Thor's channel. Check out nethilez. Check out Griggity's. TRS is gonna have a channel soon. So check it all out. Check it. With that being said, everybody have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day. Peace.
Peace out.